M cars, so bit of a familiar sight here. Very strong combination of the MX-5s and Okayama. Very tested and true there. We do have Neil McKenzie on pole. We'll quickly cut to you, Lee, on some quick thoughts just before we start. We've got about 30 seconds before the green flag.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a good race. Lots of skill in this AM class and joined by a few new competitors as well. But Okayama definitely throws up some good racing on this long course, and looking forward to seeing what these AM boys can put into place tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We have had a quick look at the championship throughout the week there, seeing Neil McKenzie right at the top of that list at the moment. He's pretty much been undefeated. So could risk himself, he's almost driving too good, could risk himself being promoted to the Pro-Ams. But we are going to go underway here super shortly. All the revs are starting to come up. About 20 seconds left on the clock. Just sorting out the final logistics of it. It's going to be 8 laps. So Okayama being quite a short track, it's going to be over pretty quickly. So 10 seconds to go till green flag.
Got those 2 pit stops tonight too, being a sprint round. So the drivers over the 3 races must complete a minimum of 2 pit stops and take a mandatory 2 tyres in both of those pit stops. So interesting to see how that strategy is going to play out, and it'll be interesting to see here who pits early on in the race on lap 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So revs are rising. We have gone green there. Well and truly underway. Good start there by Jesse Carrick in that 3rd position there at the moment. Everyone off to a good start there. Usually Okayama's nice and spaced out. Everyone's just trying to see, I think that it might be Bard Rodkin all the way at the back there. So he's potentially not had a great qualifying. He's actually standing a little bit further back than where we've normally seen him. Everyone just trying to get positions here at the moment. It is looking like Neil McKenzie though, to Matt Van Egmond to Jesse White-Carrick in our top 3.
Pretty clean start from the AM boys into turn 1. We're going up to the long right-hander now onto the back straight, and it's 3 wide as we get going here with the juiced car on the inside of that. That's going to be a good race down there with the downshift boy. I think that's that Mark Foster there as well. So no Graham Ellis and Roderick Hollis, and it's been pretty clean from the AM boys. It's good to see. Not too much door bashing so far.
Yeah, we're just going to come through the their hairpin here. We've usually seen so much carnage. In particular, I remember at the start of the season there with Matt Van Egmond and one of the Benson brothers there, but they're both through at the moment. A bit separated apart.
We had the car off on the inside there. That looks like Egmond. He's had a spin coming out of the second left-hander there. So that's a bad start to his race, and he'd probably looking at getting the pit stop out the way now to repair any damage. A bit of front to rear contact there as well. Someone's come late under brakes.
Oh, yeah. Big slide there from one of the Simworx.
Oh, it's all kicked off down the back. Dave Goggles gone around.
Yeah,
Not sure who else was involved in that one.
Yeah, I did see a Synergy car spun around as well, so that could be, not too sure who that is. Potentially might have taken their paint there. Car 25, we are going to cut to a replay of that one as well, so we'll see exactly what's happened. But Shane Seddon there, I think, was caught up in the middle of that, so a bit unfortunate for him. Once we get ourselves sorted out. Sam Lehman, though, so you can see Sam having an absolutely awesome run here. Car 93. A little bit later in the season, didn't participate in the first few rounds, but we have seen him in previous seasons and just how strong he was. Unfortunately, you'd have to say he was a bit between himself and Matthew Cardellone in the endurance round last week. Potentially just did not get the result that they wanted. So
they got stuck out a bit with a bit of a lapped car, and then got stuck in a bit of no man's land. The pace was pretty fast at the front, and not enough fighting to bring them back into it. But some heavy defending here from Roderick Hollis, and I think that's Anthony Connors behind him in the extreme racing cars. So this is a good battle here for just the positions just inside the back end of the top 10.
Yeah, exactly, and we are seeing Greg Holmes also well up the order there in 8th position there at the moment. So he's on a real blinder. We are going to see, I think Jesse White-Carrick at the moment is our first one of our leading cars there to come into the pits. So exactly what we were talking about before there. So it is 2 pit stops over 3 races. So it is something that you do have to be mindful of.
Yeah, it's always good to, as we see, Greg has obviously decided to come into the pits here in the Palmer's Australia car. It was a smooth pit entry. He's been using his Palmer's body butter, that's for sure. It's good to see these guys getting their pit stop out the way early. It's a tactic I've employed myself in the pro race, and it sets you up because if you can get one of these pit stops out the way, it leaves you pretty open for your strategy for the next two races.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's kind of keeps everyone on their toes and really guessing as well. We're just seeing some of our live pictures there. Mark Foster, so having a definitely one of our big improvers there in the downshift car as well. Downshift of especially we've seen so much in the endurance rounds that they have quite a few cars out in the field. Same with the carbon crew as well. So which we can actually see is the car in behind. So.
Great to have both those teams on board, and they throw, like you said, like 5 or 6 cars each team in these single driver driver rounds. But Mark Foster there holding into 4th place with Brindley Eastwood behind him. It's so far so good for these two. They're just hanging on in the top 5. We move back here to, is that Darren Linus? He's got his P plates on. He's moved up from the L plates that we saw from him last season. I'm really liking the placement on the back of the Mazda here, or Pazda as we call it for Darren Linus.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, we just actually caught there potentially. I think this race is going to be over before we know it, but Matt Van Egmond there getting a penalty, so potentially that could be something to do with that spin on lap 1. So yeah, his luck definitely gone from bad to worse, qualifying 2nd. For our AM race here, but in all kinds of
here from the 505 car. This is a good battle here for 3rd place as well. We've got Jesse White-Carrig and Sam Lehman. So Jesse's maybe not got the pace that he really wanted, and he's got a bit of a train of cars behind him with Connors and Roderick Hollis and one of the other cars behind him there. But good little battle between 5 cars here for the last step on the podium.
Yeah, that's right. It's always catches me off, that Simworx car with the purple roll cage, and it kind of reflects pink and purple everywhere. Even the purple KP Tech car out in front there. So Jesse White-Carrig flying the one of the sponsors' flags there as well. We've seen him. He's been returning as part of the Roadster Rumble throughout the season here at the moment. Or as we're just seeing, I think that car a little bit further down there is quite damaged, but we are seeing though Mark Foster currently our 1st place of our pitters at the moment.
Yep, we've got quite a good battle. Lots of the new guys stepping up to the plate, like you said. Sam Lehman's putting on a good show here in 4th spot. This battle, we're just too keen on this battle to take our eyes away from it as we cut back to Foster. I believe this is with Neil McKenzie. He's made his pit stop and he's come back out. He's leading the car, so he's doing a good job. He's got a bit of a lead here over the rest of the pack. Doing a good job for downshift.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's one thing you'd have to say, especially while trying to cut your teeth here in the AM class, you'd almost really just keep wanting to follow the strategy that Neil McKenzie has been putting on, because he's been just so strong in all these sprint rounds and combination rounds. He can really seem to light it up when it's required. Just seeing a few of our cars come around here. Neil with, I think that is, I thought that was, yeah, Darren, yeah, and Shane Seddon as well. So Darren Linus into the pits as well. Seeing quite a few cars here. I think there's only about 7 left or so that haven't chosen to come down the pits at the moment. So we do have Henry Fenson leading at the moment. Only about 7 minutes to go, so it is over pretty quickly there. Oh, gee, those two are out of that pit box very, very close together there.
Also merging just on the back of this pack as well, so hopefully if they can get their tyres up to temperature well, Fenson and Linus could be a factor in the last part of this race on fresh tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the blend line here at Okayama is pretty sharp, so you pretty much get dropped out right on that racing line. So those two trying to push as hard as they can to get their tyres up to temperature.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they can get these tyres up to temperature. Like the draft is going to play a massive part here, and we could see these guys roll roll through these cars. The Mazda does chew its tyres up a little bit quickly, so the extra 3 laps that these guys have got on the guys in front of them is going to come into play as we've got 6 minutes to go in the race.
You can see from Darren's perspective just how strong, hard on the brakes there. It's you can see just how much that speed difference is inside that draft at the moment. Too, we could just see one of the fencing cars all the way up the inside. I think that might be a lap car that they're coming past on at the moment.
Yeah, but, that's the number 50 car of Bard Rodkin there.
Yeah, so gee, we see quite a few cars pulling out, trying to get around there. Almost they're actually 3 wide there. Oh. Darren Linus said just getting squeezed out.
Greg Holmes in that as well, so through a move up the inside, a nice speculator on warm tyres and is taking the advantage on these guys that are coming out on cold tyres. Darren Linus in behind him now, and I think that's Ben Ferguson in the duo trading car as well, following Greg through. So a couple of the series sponsors there following each other nice and closely.
Yeah. So, and Dylan Cantor there in the duo trading car. Great to see as even the admins as well of Greg Holmes just pushing so hard and really taking those aggressive maneuvers, but doing it nice and cleanly and not giving too many people a dust up here. So we are actually seeing quite a few cars now pretty well spread out. Just looking a little bit further up the road there, that pink car of Jesse White-Carrick, a little bit on the back of Brandon McMillan and Shane Seddon up the road. So Shane Seddon choosing not to pit there. He was caught up in that incident on lap 1, so he's pushed all the way down the order and without a pit, so he's going to be in for a pretty difficult time for the rest of tonight.
Going to maximise his start position in race 2 though, so hopefully he can make the most of that, get a good start and avoid some carnage, keep the pressure off here and make up some positions that way.
Yeah, we're just going to have a quick look here. Neil McKenzie just absolutely hammering through the field there, hard up against Jamie S. Walker there, so nice and clean pass there.
Oh, Seddon's gone around as well. I've just seen that in my little mirror here.
Yeah, sorry, we did just catch off screen. I think Shane Seddon and that FedEx car as well having a few minor issues. That it is a tricky part of the corner. Sorry, tricky part of the circuit there. You can kind of feed the power in pretty aggressively. Got a bit of an open diffy. You could just see Jesse White. I think that is Jesse White-Carrick there, and you could see the big pendulum effect there on the MX-5s, and actually just caught. I think someone might have spun in sympathy. So not to worry though. Back on course here at the moment. It is Jesse White-Carrick there to Sam Lehman. So these two quite familiar with each other, not only in the MX-5s but the TCR cars there as well.
Absolutely close battles through both of those categories, like you mentioned. And Jesse's doing a great job here, holding off that pressure as we cut to Brandon McMillan in the pits here. He's decided to take a late pit stop with what's probably going to be 2 laps to go. We'll see how he feeds back into the battle. I'm surprised that group of cars with Sam Lehman and Jesse White-Carrick is not closer with the draft, but here's another exciting battle on the track as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually, these two battling has actually pushed Anthony Connors all the way up on those two as well. You see the, I think that is Eric Fenson in behind as well. So going to be a pretty cool little last lap battle. Okayama not really known there as as much of an overtaking track there. It's kind of more of a flowing track like Phillip Island. We have seen the white flag come out, so any moves though. This might maybe bring the red mist in a little bit more as these 5 come across the line.
The old 3 L's last lap lunges, and are we going to see any of them coming? Sam Lehman's lined up a run on the front straight here behind Jesse White-Carrick. One of the best overtaking corners of the track is this aptly named first corner here at Okayama, but Jesse White-Carrick defends well. Sam Lehman's still all over the back of him though as they head into the second corner here. And then there will be another overtaking opportunity after the Moss S into the long right-hander that goes up the hill.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out the 2 cars out in front of we've got Greg Shelton and Jamie S. Walker actually just adrift. So those two haven't pitted. So technically they are going, bit of rear contact there from those two. And Jesse actually...
and side contact.
both Jesse and Sam Lehman both coming through there. So we've got two cars. They're in their own little race there as well. We do have Jamie S. Walker a little bit further behind. Anthony Connors. Yeah, Anthony Connors. So don't discount him. Oh, jeez.
Nice lunge. And Roderick Hollis has gone for one behind him too. So the poor boys that hadn't pitted here have just lost 5 spots in the matter of 2 corners. So fencing around the outside as well. But his brother, he's going to look like he's coming to the win with about a 4-second lead over Brindley Eastwood as we focus on the battle here for the last few spots on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually just seen, yeah, there we go, car 125 right around the back of the circuit there. So Matt Tesorio, there we go. I knew it would get there eventually, and Wade McCulloch. So that's our top 6 over, where you just see Jesse White-Carrick there. He's going to be our second car of the pitters there. Neil McKenzie having that gap there. Jamie S. Walker and Greg Shelton's in front as well. So Neil McKenzie off to a good start.
That race has flown by. It's absolutely flown by. It was action aplenty at Okayama. I think we can see more action to come. The racing is going to be completely crazy now that a couple of these guys have got their pit strategies locked away, and it's going to be fierce battles and lots of time to make up.
So I was actually having a good look at that there. So 18th and 19th. So Aiden Gregory and Terry Knoll. So they were caught up in some first lap carnage there. You'd have to say that those two are going to be pushing super hard. We did see Aiden Gregory having that accident, or he did have an accident on the first lap, and then a little bit later on as well, spinning it. So just pushing a little bit too hard. We do know he's got the pace though.
Absolutely. There's lots of guys, Matt Van Egmond, to be hungry for some redemption as well in the second part of this race, and he would have taken one of his pit stops, got that out of the way, and he'll be looking to come back through the field for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to cut to our results here. There, Henry Fenson, Brindley Eastwood, John Thorne, Richie Domingo, Matt Teresero, Wade McCulloch. There we go. Neil McKenzie, first of our pitters there. Jesse White-Carrick, Sam Lehman, and Anthony Connors there, rounding out our top 10.
At the page, Roderick Hollis, Eric Fenson in 12th, Greg Shelton 13th, JS Walker in 14th. Greg, he slipped back a bit in 15th. Darren Linus in 16th. Good showing here from Dylan Canto in 17th. Andrew Dutch in 18th. Aiden Gregory in 19th. Terry Knowles 20th.
We do see Shane Seddon. We did have that accident earlier on there. Jamie Willits, Philip Paradiso, Mark Foster, Dave Gogol, Brandon McMillan, Matt Van Egmond. And then the start of our lapped cars there. As follows. So we are going to take, our starting positions are going to be from that race previous. We do have a minute on the clock here, so I'm sure everyone's heart rate might come down a little bit. All in all, though, a reasonably clean first lap there, Lee. First race, sorry.
First race, not too bad. Not too many incidents to talk about. Hopefully we get the same for this second race. It's off and running, and we get a good start from Fenson off the pole there, and plenty of spacing out happening into the first corner. So it's looking like another smooth start to race 2 here.
Yeah, an absolute run there by Jesse White-Carrick. I think he might have made up a spot or two there. Or as we're just seeing Greg Holmes there being spat off to the inside of the circuit. So on corner 1, whether or not he got assisted with that, I'm sure we'll be able to find that out later on as well. And Greg Sheltonson as well with a big incident there on corner 2 there. So yeah, a few cars already in the mix here at the moment. We do see Henry Fenson though leading quite cleanly though from Matt Teresio. Have I got that right, Teresio?
We'll get there eventually through the night. To Sorero, I'm not sure. We might have to get him to... we've had a big accident down the back of the straight. Sam Lehman's involved there. Not sure of the other car, but it's going to... JS Walker is involved. There's... jeepers.
Hold the brakes there.
Hold the brakes, Sam, and don't back out. Yeah, no, that's a big accident in the middle of the straight there. Wade McCulloch's probably one of the other cars involved as well.
Yeah, J.S. Walker was in that as well. Very good work. Once their tyres were on the ground, though, did hold the brakes there and didn't roll back onto the circuit. So a bit hard to do that while you're upside down. But what a massive accident that was. Have seen one of the carbon cars there, 317 off to the inside as well. Yeah, that is Richie Domingo there. So potentially maybe some pretty heavy car damage there. They look like they're not really moving in all much of a hurry at the moment. And seeing a lot of the cars now coming into the pit. So Neil McKenzie, though, choosing to stay out for an extra lap.
Yep, good strategy there. Got some clear track in front of him, so he'll be able to put together a good lap here. And if he chooses to pit again, he'll be a good in lap. But we've had an incident in the pit. It looks like Jesse White-Carrick is involved.
Yeah, Anthony Connors and Jesse White-Carrick there. Yeah, this is going to be looked at pretty heavily there. So Jesse choosing to go in reverse, then doing a reverse throw in the pits. Maybe it might be the local 7-Eleven car park there, but Anthony Connors there and Jesse White-Carrick are probably going to be in quite a lot of trouble there for what had happened there in the pits. So we are here with our VRS replay. That's actually 125 was the car that was... we have this happen every time at Okayama. The actual 60 board is around the corner, but the actual the control line's right a little bit up further, so it's actually held everyone up. Did see the duo trading car that possibly might be doing Canto there also got held up heavily, but that costs everyone there about 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, lots of cars held up there, and a message was put out to familiarise yourself with the pit entry cone, and like you said there, Nick, the pit entry speed limit sign is very early compared to where the cone is, so lots of cars caught out there, and I think a lot of cars caught out with our cold tyres as well on lap 1 and forgetting that they didn't have full temperature in their tyres, and that's why we've seen so many incidents here and a bit more of a chaotic start to race 2.
Yeah, that's affected a lot of the big cars there. So obviously Jesse White-Carrick and Anthony Connors. So we're just seeing Greg Holmes off again. So he's in not having a great round. This one, I'm sure we'll be able to we'll be able to ask him plenty about it as he comes on later on. But yeah, sorry, Jesse, Terry Knowles, Mark Foster and Sam Lehman got involved in that as well. So quite a lot of people there, quite up the championship, have all lost around that 20 seconds in that pit lane incident.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Greg's just tried to go around the outside there, and the car on the inside hasn't seen him. But too much Palmers for Greg there, and he just slid off into the sand trap, and unfortunately got some contact as well.
He's got the palms on the tyres instead of the hands. Maybe that's what's causing it. But we have seen a penalty there handed to Wade McCulloch. So that, I'm guessing that would have been that lap 1 incident down the back straight. Heavy accident there between himself and Sam Lehman.
Absolutely. That was a massive incident in the middle of the straight. So we cut back to action here. We got this is John Thorne, I think we're looking at now. He's second place on the road behind Brindley Eastwood. They got Neil McKenzie trying to chase him down. So a tight little pack here for the first 3 positions. I think Neil McKenzie's the first one of these cars that's actually had a pit stop in either of these races. So expect to see that John Thorne and Brindley Eastwood pitting at some point in this race.
Yeah, another one just down the road there, about 2 seconds or so adrift. Roderick Hollis, Aidan Gregory and Shane Seddon. So those 3 on a really good run there. Aidan Gregory, we did see, was all the way down in 18th position. So he's chosen to stay out a little bit longer. That has pushed him up through the field a little bit more. But great work by all these drivers here in the top 10. A couple that we've seen, quite often there, but also quite a few that we haven't seen so much. So
focusing on Bard Rodkin here. I think he's thrown us both with a change in paint job, but some aggressive moves here. We got the 81 Anthony Connors and number 2 there, which is Terry Knowles, defending hard. Anthony's looking for a run up the inside here, but decides better of it, gets on the brake. They've got Brandon McMillan just in front of them as well. So tight little battle pack here, getting onto it.
Yeah, you have to say there for Anthony Connors, you'd have to be pretty much on your best behaviour at the moment, because I would say what happened in pit lane. Oh, so we did see that red and green KP Tech car there off to the inside. So you're exactly right, though. Bard Rodkin has thrown us a bit of a stitch up there. By not going with his traditional paint, he's chosen something else, and someone else has taken the KP Tech paint. So it's actually... I've probably called him out as Bard Rodkin out on circuit a couple of times, but it's actually someone else.
Yeah, it's nice and keen of them for us to keep the same paint job. But Greg's made his pit stop here. Race Labs on the bonnet. He would be, unfortunately, he's had that big incident, so he'll be quite upset this afternoon and looking to make up for it in race 3. Would have both his pit stops out the way now, so plenty of time for him to come back and take the chocolates in race 3. We move back to Darren Linus on screen now in the Pazda. Warranty void on the side of it. Too many collisions last week, but we thank True Clean Automotive Detailing for bringing that Mazda to look nice and shiny.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just a note further up the road there, Neil McKenzie passing John Thorne as well. So do note that Neil is in second place here at the moment. Was probably about half a lap ago. Was it on the hairpin all the way? Hairpin at the end of the main straight. Might try and have a look at the replay for that there as well. So it was a pretty clean pass there on John Thorne. You'd have to say John just pretty much giving that gap there, knowing that Neil was definitely the stronger driver. So great racecraft there by those two. Even when you look at that last lap there, Neil McKenzie about a second and a half faster there. So
yeah, sometimes it's better just to drop in behind if you know a car's faster, and you can see that Neil McKenzie has definitely opened up that gap there and pulled away from John Thorne. Looking at some other cars coming down the straight now, here's the Fenson brothers with one of the other Steddon boys in between them. They're recovering well after having to pit in this race, so both of them have made their pit stop, and they'll be looking strong for a good fight in race 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Great work there as well. So we're actually seeing Neil McKenzie is just reeling in Brindley Eastwood, but you can see there is really kind of what we were talking about before, action all over the circuit here at the moment.
Much more chaotic race too, and this little paddle pack here of 4 drivers, Brandon McMillan and Seddon with Connors in there behind them as well, with the number 2 of Terry Knowles coming at him, and I think that's Dylan Canto recovering as well from behind there in the number 10 car. So these guys are all, unfortunately, those ones that got held up in the pit lane, coming back through the field and making up as much time as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see everyone's pretty well spread out in this part of the game. You can see the echelon as they come across, all trying to break that little bit of a toe. Almost a bit like watching the Tour Down Under than an MX-5 race at the moment. Keeping it in super tight there, but great racecraft there, trying to keep plenty of space. It is usually that left and then, sorry, the right and then the left and the other left. Always see so much carnage there, but thankfully all through pretty cleanly there. You can see the second KP tech of Philip Paradiso. So he's been in the wars a little bit, currently a lap down as well, so not having the greatest night from his perspective now.
It's on here between Connors and Terry Knowles. These guys seem to find each other every single week. They've lost a little bit of time there to Brandon McMillan, so their little fight that they've had here has brought Dylan Canto into it, and I think that's the 777 car behind them of Jesse White-Carrig as well, so it's a 4-way battle here. Seddon in the middle, he's run a little bit wide coming onto the straight, so Jesse White-Carrig will be looking to row him up, and he's going to do that quite comfortably by the braking zone for turn 1, and he'll get himself on the back of Dylan Canto. And we've got probably got a couple laps here left to go, so we can see if Jesse White-Carrig can make it to the front of this group. They're battling just on the outside of the top 15.
Yeah, looks like actually one thing to note as well, no further action at this stage here for that Anthony Connors, Jesse White-Carrig in pit lane at the moment. So potentially maybe they might be looking at it a little bit later as well. Gee, you can see just how much the car in behind Anthony Connors, Terry Knowles, all over the circuit, had 2 wheels well and truly off in the grass. That's allowed Dylan Canto through as well. So they're having quite a battle.
Dylan's taken some advice from his old man there and capitalised on someone else's mistakes to make up a position, and Brandon McMillan going for a big move here on Darren Linus, but Linus chops the front of the car off of Brandon McMillan. Good move there good defending by Darren Linus, but Paradiso's in this one as well. He's having a look up the inside, thinks better of it as the lapped car. And this is an interesting, we've cut to Sam Lehman. He's coming onto the back of that big train we were talking about before with Jesse White-Carrig and Connors and Canto.
With absolutely brought Jamie Willits in there as well, so we've seen just how strong Jamie is on some of our rounds here. He is a little bit further back than what we normally see him, so we'll be looking for a good position as well. We are actually going to come across as the white flag is going to fly, I do believe the white flag should be on this lap with this group of cars.
I think we've got one more. I think next lap these guys are just about to start lap 7. Our leaders started lap 7 already, but these guys have still got 2 full laps of racing to go, and it's really kicking off. Jesse White carrying all over the back of Dylan Canto here as they head towards turn number 1. Will he look? He does. He moves to the right-hand side and late lunge under brakes here. And Willits is looking on the inside of Canto as well, which will become the outside for the left-hander here. Not going to happen, but this has really brought Sam Lehman into it. Sam Lehman's really caught up to the back of the pack here, and he'll not be wasting any time. He knows how important it is to make quick, fast passes in this class.
Yeah, you can just see how wide they run into that sand there as well. And one thing to note there, Sam Lehman's quite an aggressive battler as well, so you really don't want to be up against him because, yeah, he will, if there's a gap, he'll almost always take it there. Jamie Willits, so defending pretty well. He's going to be the outside there of Dylan Canto.
And then running down, Dylan's defending a little bit. He's placed his car in the middle of the track. He's going to force Willits to go around the outside. Lots of racing room given here by both of them, and Willits was in a little bit hard. He's allowed Sam Lehman onto the outside. Sam Lehman will be looking for the classic switchback here, but Willits has blocked it off. Will Sam Lehman be able to get the run down to the next left-handed corner? It looks like Willits got a good run off, and Dylan's safe for another couple of corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just trying to catch there where Neil McKenzie is sitting. Is it me or is Neil McKenzie a lap down?
No, Neil McKenzie's just taken the white flag. He's leading the race at the moment. So he's leading the race by 3.5 seconds from Roderick Hollis, making his way down the back straight. Roderick Hollis is a stunning job there in position 2, and Aidan Gregory bringing up the top of the podium there, and Bard Rodkin with his new paint in 4th place.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm having all kinds of timing. When it sees Mazdas, it seems that the timing always seems to jump out the window there. We can see one of the fencing cars trying to take a very, very tight line there. Very well done there.
Speculator, and he's been given heaps of room there by the 505 car, I think that is, of Matt Seddons. So really good awareness there from Seddons, seeing that Fenson wanted to make the move, but he knew that he was going to get the toe coming back down the long straight. So we go side by side into the hairpin here. Seddon looking for the over-under, but he's had to try and stick it around on the outside, which isn't going to work.
Yeah, running it. Oh, yeah, it's definitely taking interesting lines on the Okayama circuit. We are going to see Neil McKenzie and Roderick Collis come over the line there. My timing's just all switched around again, but we know that they're our top 2. I think that is Aidan Gregory in 3rd position. No.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Aidan Gregory's taken 3rd position, Bard coming for 4th, but there's been chaos behind us in the second of the left-handers. Brandon McMillan has been turned around, and that battle pack has come to blows as they enter the last couple of corners. Sam Lehman looking around the outside of Willits, but that's not going to work. It's all sort of kicked off in the last part of the lap. There's one more passing opportunity into the last corner if you're brave enough, but it's going to be on Carrick here. If he gets a good run coming off the back of the corner here on Terry Knowles, he could get the drag race down to the finish line. It's a long way down the straight before they cross the start-finish line. Does he pull out of the draft, or does he settle in behind? No, he just settles in behind there. But good racing between those guys. It was nice and close and hard racing, and really only kicked off on the last few corners there.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to note there with Okayama, that quite short run there to the line, so it is very difficult to try and make your way around there coming onto the straight there, but great run there. I think that is one of the carbon cars, 317. Rich Domingo, so he's a little bit further down than when we've normally seen him in 26th position. So we are going to have a 4-minute intermission while everyone kind of gathers what is going on there. Neil McKenzie, Roderick Collins, Aidan Gregory and Bard Rodkin, they're the ones. Our top 4 did not choose to pit there. I think Graham Ellis as well. So first of our pitters there was around Henry Fenson, I believe there. Matthew Seddon, Brinley Eastman, John Thorne, Matt Van Egmond there in 10th position.
Page, we look at Chad Lewis, Dave Goggle, Andrew Dutch, Darren Linus, Phil Paradiso, Terry Knowles, Jesse White Carrick, Dylan Canto, Jamie Willits and Sam Lehman.
Shane Seddon there in 21st, Brandon McMillan, Anthony Connors, Greg Holmes. We did see Greg was off the circuit a couple of times. I'm sure we'll be able to probe him a little bit later on about it. Mark Foster there, Richard Domingo, Greg Schultzen, Wade McCulloch, Matt Treziero, and Eric Fenson there in 30th.
And ringing out the field, we had Andrew Roberts, Jamie Walker, and our race control cars. But that really kicked up a notch, that second race there with the red mist descended on everybody. And yeah, it was plenty more to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. We've definitely... Yeah, we might just quickly run to... well, we've got 3.5 minutes. We're going to go to a couple of ads there. So Simworx Roadster Rumble, brought to you by Simworx, KP Tech, Automotive Tome, Aussie Carts, Palmer's Rinaldi, Race Labs, Motorsport Haulers, Phoenix Smokers, True Clean, Auto Detailing, and of course our title sponsor, Simworx Race Simulators.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going with the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get involved.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Yeah, we are back here at Okayama. Seen 2 races already for the AM class there. 2 very short 8-lap race, about 15 minutes each. So we're going to go for 1 more for our AM cars there. We are going to be at Barber Motorsports Park a little bit later on there for our pro class. Have seen such just a dominant performance there by Neil McKenzie. So he's got to pit 1 more lap. We know that for sure. Choosing to pit in that first race and then choosing to stay out there for our second. So he's going to be starting from the front of the grid there. Roderick Hollis in second place there. Aidan Gregory in third. So we've got Bard Rodkin, Graham Ellis, Henry Fenson, Matthew Seddon, Brinley Eastwood, John Thorne, and Matt Van Egmond there, rounding out our top 10 for our starters.
Yeah, we're not too far away from green here, and rounding out the top 20, we'll have John Thorne, Matt Van Egmond, Chad Lewis, Dave Goggle, Andrew Dench, Darren Linus, Phil Paradiso, Terry Knowles, Jesse White-Carrick, Dylan Canto, Jamie Willits, and Sam Lehman. Revs are rising not too long now, and we'll be underway with the final race here. Who's going to bring home the chocolates? Like you said, we've got Neil McKenzie up front. He's going to have a clear run for lap 1, you would imagine, and you would be remiss to think that he's going to dive in the pits at the end of lap 1 here.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be having one eye there on his rear view mirror when he comes in. We've already seen quite a lot of carnage though. That is the green flag though. We are underway here. Just seeing John Thorne there choosing to go right through the centre there. He's blocking off his line pretty sharply there at the moment though. But we are seeing Neil McKenzie, Roger Collis, Aidan Gregory there are going to be our top 3 Bud Rodkin, though, with an absolute stellar run there. You can see he's just to the outside of Aiden Gregory, so doing a great work there, defending that 4th position.
Nice clean start for race 3. So maybe the admins have jumped on and said, you know, pull it back together, guys. There was lots of chat about racing each other in the same class, but nice and casual start. Everyone giving each other plenty of space. They know that it's all on the line here, and they can't afford to be taken out on lap 1.
Yeah, and we've got we're going to have Jesse White-Carrick, Sam Lehman, quite a few of the others there fighting all the way from around 20th position. So they're going to be powering through the field. They've already locked in their strategy. They can't make any changes there. Oh, as we do see Roderick Hollis there has been spun around, so whether or not he got some assistance on that, he has to wait there. Yeah,
we'll have to wait for a replay on that one, but plenty. I spoke too soon. It was all so easy and so smooth off the start that it all kicks off at the hairpin on lap 1 and poor on Roderick Hollis here. He's been turned around. Oh, and he's done it himself again. He's the red mist has ascended for sure.
Yeah, they are such a tricky car to drive there. They are open diff though, but with the cold tyres, they can get really tricky there on our slow speed corners. They are going to have a look at the replays, so just need to keep an eye on that 2nd position there up at the moment. So whether or not, oh yeah, that was definitely a bump there from Aiden Gregory.
He was in the back of him there in the FedEx car, and there was less than a cigarette paper between the two of them, that's for sure. So I would imagine that Roderick Hollis is going to be pretty filthy with that one.
Yeah, so Aiden Gregory, that's going to put him down the order quite a lot, choosing to send it quite a lot. Gee, this mid-pack is really tight there. You can just kind of catch there out of shot there. I think we have seen, I think that is Jesse White-Carrick a little bit further up from Philip Paradiso, and then there's just an absolute swarm of MX-5s in behind. So that penalty, though, being handed to Aiden Gregory, so we'll see him come into the pits next lap.
Phil Paradiso there leading the 2 KP Tech purple cars from another purple wheeled car with Sam Lehman behind. This pack has been going at it with all these drivers quite ferociously all afternoon. It'll be interesting to see if these guys can keep it clean for the next 8 laps. But Dylan Canto up the inside there of one of the cars into the hairpin. Nice driving for you from Phil. He's driving just inside the top 10, which is a new spot for him. He's showing a clean pair of heels to those guys behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen Richard Domingo, so car 30, being handed a penalty as well. So race control all over it at the moment. They've been able to quickly review 24/7 race control as being also one of the sponsors and lending a hand here. The Simworx Roadster Rumble have been getting all those incidents looked at very quickly.
Absolutely. We're focusing here on Anthony Connors and one of the Fenson boys, and Jamie Willett's in behind him, but they're just off the back of this little pack that's ensured. It's about 15 cars long. Connors is looking around the outside of Darren Linus, and Fenson thought about 3 wide, thought better of it. Connors on cold tyres, that's a little bit of an ambitious move here from him, but you don't ask, you don't get, and it's going to come back to him on the inside here for the left-hander.
Yeah, that big sweeping corner is always such a big hitter there. It's quite easy to loop it coming around there. All kept it in pretty tight there. Gee, you can see Eric Fenson trying to work on finding a gap there at the moment. He's kind of stuck behind a wall of MX-5s there. Jamie Willett's just losing a position there to, I think that is Mark Foster there in the other downshift car. Oh, big accident.
Foster and Connors and Fenson involved. McMillan's caught up in that one too, but I was just about to say, you can see how much this fighting early on in the race can ruin your position on track, and they'd lost quite a bit of ground on the guys in front of them because they were too busy worrying about just making up one spot. But we'll cut to a VRS replay here, and I just don't know if Connors knew that Foster was on his inside. They come real close together here.
Yeah, I think it might have been Jamie Wilkes was in that mix as well. Oh, as you can just see, he was definitely hit by Mark Foster there. But you'd have to say that the spot is almost redundant in that position when you're kind of surrounded by so many cars. You almost lose track of who's in what location here. We'll get a clearer shot here. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I'll leave that one up to race control, but
Yeah, I think big jerk of the wheel there
definitely a
by
few
Mark
people.
Foster.
Big crash at the start of a straight. It's not really necessary this early in the race. And we cut back to towards the front of the pack, and we've got Sam Lehman here. He's trying to chase down Jesse White Carrig now. Dylan Canto hot on the heels behind them here. Not sure of the car with the red wheels there in the middle of this pack, but they're all starting to figure it out. Andrew Dutch there in the middle with the red wheels. Dylan Canto in behind him. Phil Paradiso, fifth car in line here. If these guys can work together, they'll probably catch up to the group in front of them and be on for a good result in this race.
Yeah, so we have seen news is coming through there. Mark Foster getting that penalty for that incident that we just looked at. So race control very quickly taking care of that. Seeing the big drag down the straight there of, I think that is, I'm going to keep saying Jamie Willits because we have seen a couple of cars there with that tartan front end. So, a hard move there on Darren Linus though, that Darren choosing to hold his own there. He's going to have the inside on the two left-hand corners, but you can see just a speed difference from the momentum there held by that car there of Jamie Willits. So, but Darren Linus holding on.
Back to the front of the pack here, John Thorne and Matt Van Egmond. We've got Chad Lewis in the middle of those two cars in that galactic style paint job. Neil McKenzie has chosen to stay out. John Thorne comes into the pit, so it'll be interesting to see what Neil does here with his pit stop. He's gone. We're about 3 laps into the race now. It'll be interesting to see when he takes this pit stop and where that shuffles him back. Oh, he's in the pits as well. So Neil's in the pits as well. Pitting on the end of lap 3 here. Let's see where he feeds out. He's going to be probably 30 seconds behind the now effective race leaders.
Yeah, and you can see he's got that number 1 box there as well. It'll be a pretty testing time there for Neil McKenzie. You can see exactly where they're going to chuck him out on course. It's actually going to be in the clear there because one thing to know, he's got almost everything to lose. Oh, gee. Just seeing one of the AM green cars. Yeah, Henry Fenson there is coming in there as well. So one thing to note, when you're Neil McKenzie there, you're going to be thrown right into that mid-pack as well and be running that risk when they're battling and so much potential to have an accident. But he's out in the clear at the moment there. We've got Sam Lehman up the inside there. I think that is Jesse White Carrig.
Yeah, Sam Lehman and Jesse White Carrig picking up where they left off in the second race here. They're back in front with Sam Lehman now. These guys really just got to work together and realise that the guys in front of them probably still got a pit stop at least left to do. They're battling for the back end of the top. Oh, no. Jesse's been in the back of Sam Lehman here, and Sam Lehman has been spun around coming into the left-hander there. Jesse White Carrig off in the dirt. I think he's looking to readdress, but I'll leave this one for you to digest there, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually kind of almost still going on at the moment there, but yeah, gee, we've seen so many times there, Jesse, especially down the main straights there, will run it so close there, but might have been a little bit too close there for comfort there. But Salmon has actually rejoined into the group in behind, so he's like got himself together there and is instantly in another battle pack with Philip Paradiso. I think just trying to work out what that blue and yellow car is as well. So in all kinds of battling here at the moment.
Lucky for Sam Lehman, he hasn't lost too much ground, and he's back in front of this pack now. But unfortunately, he's lost a little bit on the back of the front too.
The very retro, I think that is Dave Gogol there in the yellow and blue. That's a very retro paint scheme there, almost a bit reminiscent of I don't know, maybe improved touring or sports sedans, all blue and yellow paint scheme.
Paul Menard NASCAR paint scheme there. So taking some licks out of America and rocking it on the Mazda MX-5.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've been probing you all off camera about your trip a little bit later on, so we're all going to miss you quite a lot on the mic as well as on the track.
Yeah, looking forward to getting across to America, and I'm going to miss this action. This AM race is absolutely chaotic. I'm looking forward to a final race at Barber tonight that's going to be just equally as chaotic, I think. But Jesse White-Carrick's trying to go around the outside here of Darren Linus, making up for lost ground. I don't know if too much will get done with that incident with the both of them. Jesse's ended up here worse off than Sam had, so the race control might look at that favourably for Jesse White-Carrick, and he might escape penalty. And just unfortunate for Sam here that he's lost a lot of time on track.
And it looks like there has been nothing handed in regards to a penalty for that, so maybe they might going to let that one go there. Well, gee, John Thorne under a lot of pressure there at the moment by one of the carbon cars who's chosen to come off in the pits there. That's car 317. Richie Domingo. So Richie we've seen right at the pointy end in some of our races that we've seen earlier in the season, though. Okayama has not been too kind to him, so I think that is Dylan Canto there round the back of the circuit, so he's on an absolute run there. Andrew Dutch doing some excellent work, so he's quite familiar with iRacing. We haven't seen too much of him at the MX5 Roadster Rumble, so he's just trying his hand.
Yeah, I think Andrew and along with Matt there, new entries into the series who are going to start out in the AM class and assess their abilities before moving up if they're fast enough. But Dylan, he's on a tear here. He's moved up to third place. This is going to be one of his best results if he can hold on to this in the MX5 Roadster Rumble. Really keen to see him progress further in the duo trading car.
Yeah, I like the little, it's almost like a home and away paint scheme there, having the all black. Yeah, we've seen Jamie Willits and Jesse White-Carrick have been leaning on each other all, pretty much every corner for the last 2 laps there, so not surprising that those two have had to come together. We are going to cut to a VRS replay here, Lee.
Yeah, so Jesse's got the run coming off of the second last corner, and Willits has had a small amount of block. Jesse's driven in hard again. He's just unfortunately gone in too hard, and front to rear contact there again on the fault of Jesse. Would be interesting to see if he redressed there and let Jamie get back in front of him, which again he might escape a penalty for the redress, which it looks like he has.
It's almost a bit of a carbon copy from 2 laps ago with Jesse and Sam Lehman. So
absolutely. Well, we're on the final lap, and I think we've just crossed onto the back straight for the battle for the lead of the race. We've got Chad Lewis closely followed by Matt Van Egmond, and this is for the win as we're on the final lap of the race now, heading down into the hairpin. Van Egmond in the draft, looks to the outside of Chad Lewis. Can he force Lewis into mistake? The old over-under could be on the cards here. No, Van Egmond's driven in too hard.
Yeah, so a bit unfortunate there for Matt Van Egmond. So did start off on a pretty bad set of cards there, having that spin and accident a little bit earlier on there, but great work to be able to work his way all the way back there as well. Dylan Cantor as well, up 15 positions from where he started, so he chose to stay out there. At the moment, you can see Sam Lehman also up 15 positions as well in 5th, so Sam having a pretty good race despite having a having a few biffing and barging.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sam, after getting turned around, he's done a good recovery here. He's going to come just off the back of the podium. Chad Lewis, though, looks like he's going to take the win here in race 3. Started 11th, takes the win, up 10 positions in race 3 here. Excellent driving, held off Matt Van Egmond there for 2nd place. And it looks like Dylan Canto's still going to hold on to 3rd place from Andrew Dutch. It was close to the line, though, and Sam Lehman hot in the heels of Andrew Dutch in 5th place.
Philip Paradiso actually losing a position there to, I think, Darren Linus. So Phil just running it ever so slightly wide into that stance. It's actually cost him a position for the line. Not to worry there. We see Jesse White-Carrick coming over the line there as well. I think that might be one of the fencing cars of Henry Fencing coming through there. Neil McKenzie, though, being the first car of our pitting cars, and I do believe that would be him taking out the round win.
Yeah, absolutely faultless performance again from Neil McKenzie. Stayed out of trouble, did his pit stops when he needed to, and took a couple of good results. He's one to watch, and like you said earlier on, he could be looking at being bumped up into the pro class before too long.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to have a look at our standings. We'll just line them up now as well. Chad Lewis there to Matt Van Egman there, Dylan Canto, Andrew Dutch. So great work there by Chad Lewis and Andrew Dutch. Some of our newcomers there. Sam Lehman, Dave Gogol, Terry Knowles, Darren Linus, Philip Paradiso, Eric Fenson rounding out our top 10.
We roll through. We got Jamie Willits in 11th, Neil McKenzie, Jesse White-Carrig, Henry Fenson, Brindley Eastwood, Bard Rodkin, John Thorne, Brandon McMillan, Andrew Roberts, and Graham Ellis rounding out the top 20.
Yeah, I always seem to get it every time there. Matt
Every single time.
Aidan Gregory, Greg Holmes there, Shane Seddon, Roger Collis. Roderick we did see with that spin on lap 1, so he'd be pretty upset all the way down in 25th there, Wade McCulloch. Richard Domingo, Greg Schultens there, and Anthony Connors also in the wars there, and JS Walker. Mark Foster, Matthew Seddon. So Matthew not finishing the race there, choosing to pull the pin.
Yeah, race 2 and 3 really kicked that up a notch there. Race 1 was, just pretty casual as she comes and not much to talk about. And then they kept us busy, and those last 2 races flew by. It felt like they were over before they'd even begun, really. So, look, not too bad driving there from the AM class all together, and it doesn't, goes without saying that without the sponsors that you're seeing on the screen now, series like this don't happen. And if you're looking at jumping on board, you just got to look up Simworx Roadster Rumble on the Facebook page and send an invite across.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were about to say there, to finish first, you first have to finish. But also that as well, it's actually it's great to see that we do see so many people come through into the league there from watching the feed that we put on here at SimSpeed, and then all that is helped with our partners here shown, Simworx being the title sponsor, KBD Tech, Automotive Towing, Aussie Carts, Palmer's Rinaldi, Race Labs Motorsport, Hauler, Phoenix Smokers, True Clean Automotive Detailing. So I'll let you get ready for tonight here, Lee. I'm hoping that you spend a little bit of time there at Barber Motorsports Park. We're going to see probably some fireworks again.
Look, not enough time to practice, and Barber's definitely not the easiest track to get around. So it didn't do me too badly last time I sat in the comms box with you and had a chat. So look, we'll have a good race. Hopefully the pros throw it on. Barber even harder to pass than probably Okayama as well. So qualifying is going to be ever so important. But yeah, time for me to board the plane to America figuratively tonight and not literally like I will be on Friday. And I'll see you guys in Barber.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, figuratively and literally, have a safe trip, and yeah, we'll see you in a few months' time.
Thanks, Nick. Pleasure as always, and appreciate all the work that you guys do here at SimSpeed behind the scenes to keep these series alive for us guys to have a bit of fun on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, perfect. So we are going to cut to, I think we'll be out for probably about 5 minutes or so as we get our Barber and Pro cars all ready. So we're going to cut to a couple of ads, and we'll catch you after the break.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's coming, the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Yeah, so we're using the VRS Direct Force Pro this year. We have a wheel adapter right here, so I'm using the rim I used last year. But the motor right here produces a lot of power, a lot of precision, and it helps me, just feel the car more, feel the car a lot quicker. Especially, this week we're at Sonoma. I can feel it, when it hits the curbs. Any little change in the car, the wheel reacts a lot quicker than your typical gear-driven or belt-driven wheel. For example, if you're on oval and the rear tires break loose, force feedback on it corrects a lot quicker than your typical wheels. There's no resistance pretty much as far as being able to make quick corrections on the wheel. So all that, paired with how precise the wheel itself is, it makes it to where it helps you as a driver, to find that extra hundredth or thousandths of a second. So when you're getting a direct drive wheel, especially the VRS wheel, it's heavy duty. It's got good weight to it. It's not a plastic toy. It feels like you can really beat up on it. A lot of people have issues with their plastic gear-driven wheels just kind of breaking after a couple years. This thing just feels like it can go forever. The forces are really strong, where if you might have to let go of the wheel if you get into the wall. You can adjust all that with the settings on it and stuff, but the wheel itself doesn't play around. It's got way more strength than you could ever need, and that's what makes it good, that you can adjust that down to whatever the car needs. So initially you'll be able to get the controller box and the motor together, and eventually you will be able to add a rim onto that option. They'll also be including a button plate on it to put on the rim to have all sorts of different buttons and functionality. Also, pedals are coming, so that's a pretty big deal as well. Hasn't been covered too much, but the goal is to also have pedals to go along with the Direct Force Pro. So that's pretty exciting. The wheel feels good. It feels very much like a real world steering wheel. You just kind of feel like what you would imagine the car to feel like. A real steering wheel in a car is very smooth, it's very direct, very quick, and that's what this wheel feels like.
My name is Steven Corpenos. I'm a senior web developer here at iRacing, and I work on the beta UI. It's funny because iRacing has been around for 10 years, but we want to keep delivering the best possible user experience to our customers, and we've found that the old UI isn't exactly what we're trying to deliver in 2018. We want to use new features and provide the best possible experience when using the sim. One of the projects that I've been working on is some custom heat racing configuration for hosted races. We've been listening to our customers. Everyone's been asking for custom heat races. Maybe you want to tweak a few things with the preset iRacing configurations. Well, now you can using the beta UI. So once you're at the homepage of the beta UI, you just go to create a race. Then from there you go to your set race options. And you'll notice here under event types, you can actually choose heat racing. First, I'm going to show you how to create a new format from scratch. You can choose the number of entrants. And as you can see, when I made that change, the change was actually reflected on the right side in the graph. Also, you can use the estimated duration at the bottom of the graph when you're changing the length to see what the total duration of your event will be. In addition, you can customize every aspect of the session information, practice, qualifying, heat races, consolations, and of course, the final feature race. Because the beta UI allows us to develop features that are robust and complex, this feature will be exclusively available on the beta UI. Once you've made all of the changes, you can hit save. Say you forgot what you selected. You can always preview it using the preview format button. We are very excited to release the brand new heat racing configuration feature that will be available in Season 3 of iRacing.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
We are back here at, not at Road Atlanta here, but very close. So we are in America here at Barber Motorsports Park for, I think we are here for round 4 of our Simworx Roadster Rumble. So, sorry, 5. So there we go. We've all made a slight mistake tonight here. 15 turns here. Quite a technical track here on Barber Motorsports Park. Not too familiar to these drivers. Not too familiar to me either, to be honest here. So 15 turns. Little bits of elevation change there. That pit speed will be pretty important there as well, because we'll see these cars in and out of the pits quite a lot here tonight with our sprint rounds. I have here tonight with me Greg Holmes, who's just had a pretty exciting run in that AM race that we saw before. How are you feeling there, Greg?
Yeah, good, thanks, Nick. It's been a bit of a busy night, but yeah, we're ready to go for the pros now. So it's actually round 5 of the season, round 4 for the individual drivers championship. A lot of the boys haven't done Barber Motorsports Park previously, so looking forward to it. I've seen some times laid down in a few of the practice sessions, and there's going to be a couple of quick boys tonight, so I'm really keen to see how it all pans out over 3 short sprint races.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably more the Barber Motorsports Park would be more synonymous with Scops. As we've normally seen, we haven't really seen the MX-5s come through here in the past, so it'd be really cool to see. It's just so majestic seeing those MX-5s come over the crests here, and there is quite a lot of crests as they come around. Can you give us a quick recap, though, of how you went in the AM race? We did see we spun a few times, maybe. I think it was in that last race.
So, yeah, race 2 actually got hit a couple of times. Race 3, just the once. But that's racing. It was a fairly sort of packed grid tonight. There was a lot of people obviously trying to make up positions after pitting. But yeah, it's racing, and we just move on to next week, which hopefully we might be able to pick up a few more spots.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's great to see. We did have a brief chat off mic there with Neil McKenzie, who swung past and said a quick hello. So he felt pretty good about it. He was just really showing how unstoppable he is in this AM class. He's very much got that. We usually say one hand on the trophy, though, but it surely has 1.5 hands on that trophy, though. So pending anything majorly going wrong, though, surely he's the shoe-in for the championship win.
Look, Neil puts in a lot of hours of practice. He's probably right up there with the most laps per week. So I think all that hard work is finally starting to pay off for him. There is still a few rounds to go, and you might have noticed tonight we've dropped Sam Lehman into the AMS. Sam is a very quick driver, but still just sort of getting his head back around the Mazda. So we've given him a bit of a break in the AMS, but I would suspect that once he's got his head around it, he should be able to at least challenge Neil. And then, of course, guys like Jesse White-Carrick, a few of the other boys, just all bad luck. I noticed tonight on Discord that it was actually my teammate, Anthony Connors, got his pit entry all wrong, and we had 4 cars that were interlocked together, net code, but they couldn't separate.
Oh, yeah, well, we did see in that pits as well, so that involved Jesse as well. We did see that they had, I think maybe one of our newer drivers in front of Jesse, so when they came into the pits, actually Anthony spun Jesse ran and they were kind of stuck together, so the whole group of cars lost about 20 seconds. And so, yeah, it looked like there was no penalties handed because I think everyone was a big loser and all that. So, I know both Anthony and Jesse do race so hard though. And yeah, Jesse in particular had been running so close to other cars. And he just, maybe with a little bit more experience, will get there in the end and yeah, maybe give a little bit more space.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because a lot of these guys, obviously are still in the learning phase. That's why we've got them in AMS, but they're very quick. So once they get the racecraft down, look, I'm certain that there'll be quite a few boys will be promoted next season into Pro-Am, and then of course that'll open the door for a few more of the rookies to come in. But it's always a challenge when you're racing with rookies. But look, I love it. I wouldn't want to go to Pro-Am at the moment because I really enjoy racing with the rookies. It's I shouldn't say it, but it sort of brings back memories for me, and I really enjoy watching them trying to maneuver in a pack. And sometimes it doesn't always pay off, but hey, you've got to start somewhere, and you've certainly got to learn.
Yeah, and I think with the rookie racing as well, it's like more about leading by example as well. So if you're in between them and you're trying to like do the right thing and give the space, and you can see them. Okayama is a real tricky one as well. You can see them when they come out of some of like the slower hairpin turns that they're kind of like, you see the quick changes of direction when they're trying to pull away from the car that might be next to them. So they are trying to slowly learning the actual like I was going to say it's not depth perception. It's kind of like your spatial awareness around you. Like they're all trying to get a better handle of the spatial awareness, but it does get so tricky, kind of like what we caught in the live feed when you've got 5 or 6 cars around you. Like the spotter's almost redundant at that stage because the calls that they're calling out are not really going to be that accurate anymore. So they are trying to really race in packs and trying to learn where you've got to give that space.
I think the big thing for a lot of the boys too is that, as you said, once you get into a pack, a lot of the newer guys throw the braking markers out the window and try and brake with the cars around them. But with the setup on the Mazda, it can be quite tricky. And the one thing that you need to learn before you can sort of become really competitive is not to lose sight of your own braking marker just because somebody else brakes at a different point, because the equipment is so different for a lot of these boys. And it's something that I think in time they'll learn, that your own race is more important than what everybody else around you is doing. It's a tough thing to learn, and look, I'll be honest, the setup is the same for both splits, so perhaps it's something that going forward we can look at and try and find something a little bit more user friendly for the pro boys, but for the AM boys. But I'm sure Neil McKenzie's listening and going, no, please don't.
It does go to show though how quick he is able to adapt in all that as well. So
yes, I've just noticed on screen we've got the Chicken Up boys back tonight. I've given a wild card to the Chicken Up boys, so that's Marty Turner and Ashley Norman. Marty reached out to me. He's actually got COVID at the moment, so no band practice tonight.
Yeah, nice. I wouldn't even know what instrument he'd play.
I have no idea, but I know that he was
plays the cowbell. more cowbell.
He was disappointed that he couldn't race with us anymore. So obviously, having COVID, he's in isolation. Thankfully, not hasn't got COVID too bad, and reached out and, as I said, asked if he could sort of come along and have a race tonight. And I'm always happy to see the boys that have sort of supported for quite some time to jump back in. So both him and Ashley Norman will be on the grid tonight, which is good to see.
Yeah, both of them well and truly up the order as well. Actually,
I just noticed that.
Yeah, just picking out Jack Boyd, separating the two. So not much longer to go. We are just having a bit of a casual chat at the moment though, but 2 minutes left on for qualifying though. It is 2 laps around, so surely most of our cars have completed their laps there. I know Brenton Hobson's coming around for another one. Yeah, so just seeing a few cars there do some last-minute practice there. Lee in 5th position, just showing his natural talent.
Sonny's got a bit of work to do out of 7th. That'll be an interesting strategy to see if he could work his way up through the field. He's got some really fast boys in front of him. 137s were sort of the norm during the practice, so some of these boys have really stepped it up tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'd see probably a few drivers here with really strong confidence after our enduro last week there. Phil Orty had a pretty heavy run there last week, so he's going to behave himself this time around. he did cop it a little bit on the Facebook chat last week. Probably somewhat deserving, but doing an excellent job there at the moment. He's down in 26, but we'll see him. I'm sure he'll work his way back through the field here tonight.
Yeah, just looking down the field, there's some names further down. Damien Seeger is a lot further down than what I would have expected. Wayne Losh is always around the top 10. Dale Carpenter that's a surprise. He's jumped right up there, so it's going to make for an interesting start to this race.
Yeah, and we see like the likes there of like Mosmoroz and Lucas Mikulev there. There's so 2 drivers that don't really qualify usually that strong there, but usually storm the field.
Yes.
Come race time. Anyway, that is the checkered flag for our session, so we're going to go straight to it there. We can cut to our our grid qualifying standings, or the grid. There, so Marty Turner, Jack Boyd, Ashley Norman's a chicken up 1st and 3rd there. Brenton Hobson there on that 2nd row. Lee Harrison and Nick Wood there on row 3.
Followed by Sonny Canchin, Tom Huggan, Aaron Oliver, Caleb Patterson, Todd George, and Dale Carpenter on row 6.
Yeah, Wayne Losh, Cameron Edwards, Liam Complise, Cole Ridley on Coleman there. Damien Seeger on row 9.
Row 10, Glenn Boyd, Mosmoroz, Lucas Mikulev, Brody Cook, Brenton Ball, Steve McMahon.
Yeah, row 13 of Ray Oliver and Phil Orty there. We did see out on track. Simon Joel Smith, our last car. Every car putting in a lap, doing a good job. So he's going to take about a minute for everyone to get ready there. So Barber Motorsports Park, unique combination. Have not seen the MX-5s here too much, so we are going to see, I think, some pretty tight racing there, especially into this first left-hand corner.
Very wide track, so don't be surprised to see 2, 3, and even 4 wide in places. But the trick to Barber, I actually did some laps on Friday night with a few of the boys. The trick is really to keep the car flowing. If you lose momentum, you basically lose the lap. So some of these boys are really going to just have to try and keep it flowing, even though they'll obviously be in a pack.
Only about 20 seconds or so to starting, so I'm sure everyone's committed to their strategy here. About 10 seconds to go there. So Jack Boyd, our series leader there, sitting in that 2nd position. So he's going to be, I'm sure we'll see like what we saw on the AM class there. I think we'll see a lot of drivers come in on our first 2 races and try and stick it out for the 3rd there. Revs are rising though. Green flag. Oh, it's actually Jack Boyd though getting the ever so slight jump there on Marty Turner though, but he's going to have that inside line covered off.
Safely through turn 1 so far. That's always a good sign.
Oh, as we did see Wayne Losh though, off the circuit there. He's actually off in the foreground there. So not too sure what happened there with Wayne Losh. Potentially might have had a tag in. I know he was around Mosmoroz. So you can actually see quite a lot of rear suspension damage between those two. So we'll cut to a replay there. Jack Boyd up the inside of Marty Turner there. Ashley Norman a little bit further back there. So we have actually seen, I think that is Brenton Hobson there, up in the 3rd position. Lee Harrison there, still sitting around that 5th there. He's got Sonny Kenshin in behind.
They've settled down quite well for lap 1. I was sort of expecting a little bit more carnage, but looks like everybody's finding their mark. As I said, this track you really need to flow the car, otherwise you'll go backwards very quickly. So I think some of the guys have worked that out and are prepared to just sit and wait for a lap or two, see who pits, who stays out, and then work a new strategy from that point on.
Yeah, we've actually seen, I think, Glenn Boyd a little bit further down than what we normally see him, so potentially might have had contact with someone there. We've actually seen, I think that was Ashley
and
Norman and
Sonny. And Ashley's into the wall.
Yeah, he's actually on a tricky part of the circuit as well. Yeah, Cameron Edwards there, so he'll be pretty disappointed. He was actually well and truly up the field. I think he was around that 10th position, so that has put him in around that 14th or 15th place. We are going to cut to a VRS replay on that and see exactly what had happened there. So quite a few little isolated incidents so far. Oh, you just see Ashley Norman there getting those tyres off the grass. It's actually allowed Lee Harrison through. It's actually kind of
So what's happened is Ashley, as I said, this particular setup on cold tyres, and you'll see the same there. The cold tyres, if you go too close to the edge, you've pretty much cooked that lap, because it does take a lap and a half to get these tyres up to temp. And some of these boys are finding out the hard way that you probably can't push too hard for at least the first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see kind of that delta that's really apparent when we see cars come out of the pits. All four tyres there off into the grass. I think that is Aaron Oliver there. So
yes, he's finding a new way to take that turn. But we do have incident limit tonight, so some of these boys are going to have to keep one eye on that as well, because the off tracks can be quite hurtful, even on this track. So
actually, yes, sorry, just to our right there, you can see Brenton Hobson, our first, our leading car into the pits there, Sonny Canshin, Aaron Oliver. So those three are in there. We have already seen from the previous lap, Jack Boyd and Lee Harrison also in the pits. Not too sure. I'm sure we probably won't be able to catch it, but Jack Boyd, Lee Harrison getting the leapfrog there on Jack Boyd, so not too sure what's happening there. That's probably my timing screen, to be honest, mixing me up there. Yeah, you
so
can see.
Hobbo has come out of the pits in front of Lee. So that strategy is paid off for Brenton. Getting one pit stop out of the way early and being able to get back onto this tail is very important, because obviously they'll now work together unofficially and try and drag themselves back up through the field for when they pick their race, that they don't need to do the pit stop, and obviously be looking to win that particular race.
Yeah, one thing to note as well, Brenton Hobson, we've seen him just so strong in our sprint rounds as well, but where it's really coming unstuck for him as well is just, I think they've really struggled when it comes to the endurance as well. So I know might have seen in some previous, sorry, I've just caught Simon Joel Smiths have spun right in the middle of the circuit at the moment, so he's going to have to almost drive backwards on the circuit to get through in the pit lane there as well. He's got someone in behind him, Cameron Edwards, so yeah, these two have been in the wars there, but Brenton, I think, might have been runner-up either the season or the season previous, was very close to winning it, or might have won one of our previous Roadster Rumbles, but has really struggled this season with the format that's there, but is showing some good speed here tonight, though.
I think that the shorter races,
yeah, so that is the replay there of Simon J. Smith.
I suppose that's sort of helps determine when you're going to have a pit stop, but it doesn't help the guys coming in at full tilt behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. So great work there by Cameron Edwards. There's actually quite a fast pit entry there, because you kind of take the corner straight instead of Coming through on that corner, though, they've got Caleb Patterson there and Marty Turner. So both of those choosing to stay out there as well. Marty doing an excellent job there at the moment. About 3.5 seconds up the road from Caleb Patterson. So we've seen pretty much all the way from 11th to 20th or to 22nd. So we've seen about 11 or 12 cars all choosing to take that early pit stop. Marty Turner, though, choosing to stay out.
Mos Moroz obviously has decided, due to his poor grid position, to stay out this race and see if he can salvage some points. He's up to 5th now, so he's made some good progress, and he'll be over the moon that he's managed to get this far without making contact with anyone.
Yeah, we do know that Moz does fight super hard, not only in the MX-5s, but we've seen him just go so hard there in some of the GT cars there as well. So
Yeah,
very talented driver.
Moz actually did qualifying last night for the Oz Pro League that you boys are going to be working with on Thursday nights, and actually at the moment sits 12th in the qualifying. So that's not a bad effort for somebody that spends far too much time in a Mazda these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have seen, I think that is, we just Glenn Boyd and I think that is Moz Moroz. So
yeah, but that's Moz. Yep.
Great to see those two. I think that was one thing that we kind of flagged at the start of the race, that these two would be absolutely just storming through the field. So, you could just see how aggressively Moz hits those curbs here at Barber Motorsports in the MX-5s. There is a little bit of suspension trouble with these, so you can be a little bit more, but we do see the two carbon cars there of Lucas Mikulev and Brent Bull in behind, so those two will be all over the back. Could potentially be waiting for a mistake from these two in front, though, and they'll be well and truly passed.
Yes, Lucas, I think, will be quite happy to play the waiting game, at least for a lap or two, with both Glenn and Moz fairly aggressive when it comes to competing. So I'm sure Lucas's first thought was that perhaps just sitting back and collecting what may happen is probably the best option at the moment.
Yep, you could say definitely from our AM class there's definitely a lot of merit just sitting in sometimes. You can just see, just out of shot there, Moz Moroz all 4 tyres off, but he's going to have that inside line. Glenn Boyd deep under brakes, so it's actually going to bring them all together there. We've actually got Phil Ortiz actually jumped on the back of this pack as well. You can see him in the Simworx car.
With the track being so wide, when it funnels back down up here, it's always difficult to know where the other cars are.
Yeah,
they've all made it through safely, which is good to see. They're certainly not backing off at any stage.
Yeah, no, absolutely commitment. So it's actually quite interesting. I would have thought almost with our pro cars would be expecting pretty much the entire field making a pit stop on the first, but yes, so far 9 cars all the way to Ray Oliver, all choosing to stick it out there. So we do know Neil McKenzie, though, choosing to pit in the first and the third. So it's not always the first 2 races is the best you can if you do have that kind of that raw pace and actually make a bit of a mixture up, though. But gee, you can see almost 2 tenths so separating these 6 cars.
I think the pit stop idea really gets down to the sort of start you have and who you're racing around you. There's times when you look at the guys and know that you're going to put in some really good lap times if you stay with these guys. And then there's other times where you look at it and sort of think, well, perhaps I'm better off getting out of traffic. So a lot of boys have an idea, but once the flag drops, it really sort of takes a lap or two. Oops, so that was a ambitious dive.
Yeah, Ray Oliver, I think, might have outbroken himself there. Phil Ortiz, though, did a good job of evading that. We are going to cut to a VRS replay.
I think Ray might have, just struggled to pull it up under brakes. And
there's not much more you can do in that position. You've committed and you're already
it's downhill and you've got everything locked. But yeah, there's just no way that was ever going to stop, unfortunately.
And then, especially with the physics, you can't really turn and brake
No,
and expect it to work at the same time. You've really got to brake in a straight line and turn. So he was heavy on the brakes with the wheel all the way full lock to the left. So yeah, you kind of see that was a bit of a disaster about to happen. There we are here with Daryl Carpenter and Todd George. Todd George flying that carbon flag there, currently a leading carbon car at the moment there.
it's really good to see Todd back in his sim tonight. Unbeknownst to myself at the time, when we did the Imola round a few weeks ago, Todd actually went to Hobart for a wedding and decided to take a laptop and a controller with him, and did the whole of the Imola round with a laptop and a controller.
That is unreal.
Yes.
The only time I've ever seen that happen before was, Jake Sperry he would do all the open wheel races with a controller, and you could tell he was using a controller because his car would dart all the time. Like he wouldn't be able to like steer it in a straight line. Like even on the straights, he'd be like weaving from one side to the other. It was pretty amazing to watch. Great work.
I think Lucas was was probably more stressed out than Todd on the night, because Lucas knew obviously and told Todd not to do it. But Todd didn't want to give up any points because obviously he's in with a good shot at the championship still. So he made the call, but to his credit, he stayed well under the incident limit and actually drove quite well. But he's back in the sim tonight.
Good thing about Imola, there's no like sweeping corners, so like you just go maximum.
Right.
Each corner is like maximum lock because everything's like either 90 degrees or sharper.
Yeah, so it's brake, accelerate, brake.
yeah. There's no modulation of the accelerator either. It's kind of like a really hard accelerating and braking course as well. So yeah, wow, what an awesome effort. I have seen on the iRacing Instagram, we do see like a few people's traveling setups.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen. There was one controller that they released in the UK that was like you could do absolutely all your braking and accelerating on the actual. It's like a little floating steering wheel that you hold up. But
okay.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever heard of it previously was Brenton Hobson threatened to do it the last night of our GT4 season that we ran last year, because again he was leading the championship and didn't want to give it up. So he was keen to, and I said no, please, not at Bathurst.
I thought you were going to say Brenton Hobson on Just Send It, because he did win the Just Send It championship, and I'm sure there was a few people there that, well, they were definitely driving like they were using a controller. Whether or not they were was another thing. Yeah, that's right. And so Bonte had a sim in his camper van for Just Send It, so I used a sim that may as well have been a controller. I think it costs about the same at the time for JSI, which we've actually seen as a tip of a hat to JSI. We do actually see quite a lot of drivers in this Simworx series that did defer from JSI. Yeah, Dale Carpenter. Final lap coming through, especially the Wolfchester guys there as well, who are not in today though. They were here last week.
Yeah. So Luke from Simworx has actually got COVID at the moment, so he's another one that needs to isolate. But on the last lap, I'm wondering whether Todd is going to be happy with third, or would he prefer second? This is a really strong run from Dale tonight. I'm really impressed to see that he's finally starting to get his head around the Mazda. It can be tricky for some of the boys that haven't raced it for a while, but he's done a really good job tonight. And of course, Todd is always super quick when in his own sim.
Yeah, and with the Mazda 2, it evolves quite a lot as well. So they'll usually add more data into it in the different versions as well. So sometimes it's received more power, sometimes they've taken it away, and as well with the moving towards the sequential gearbox as well. So we've seen a lot of people, probably myself included though, that might have done a lot of Mazda racing in their rookies on officials though, and then the car, you know, you can come around to redoing it again here for the Simworx Roadster Rumble, and the car's completely different to what you're used to. Yeah, great work there by Marty Turner.
Welcome back, Marty.
Yeah.
Oh, Dale has managed to hold on, I think.
Yeah, great work there by those two. Glenn Boyd and
Moz and Glenn. Yeah.
Fourth
Lucas. Great drive from Phil Audie there.
Yeah, so our leading pitter there of Jack Boyd to Brenton Hobson. So those two only separated by, only about 0.3 of a second between those two. So quite a close run to the line. Lee Harrison there in third, so he was well and truly. So I think those three will be definitely to watch there. Sonny Kenshin in 13th position. So I think our usual culprits there for our championship leaders all bunched in pretty, all bunched in pretty tightly together. Yeah, so we are going to cut to our race one winner there of Marty Turner there, Daryl Carpenter, Todd George, Glenn Boyd there, Moz Mraz, Lucas Mickelef, Phil Auntie, Brent Bull, Ray Oliver, and Jack Boyd, our first car pitted there in 10th position.
Closely followed by Brenton Hobson, Lee Harrison, Sonny Canchin, Caleb Patterson, good drive, Nick Wood, Kyle Ridley, Aaron Oliver, Tom Huggan, Brody Cook, and Steve McMahon.
Damien Seeger, Liam Complice, Ashley Norman there. We saw Owen Coleman, Wayne Losh, Cameron Edwards, and Simon Joel Smith there, rounding out our field there of 27 cars. So I've got about a minute to go there. So we are taking the positions that they just finished in for our next race.
So Marty back on pole again for this race, but obviously now we'll have to pit for the next two. So look for some of the boys further back to start making their way towards the front this race.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is green flag there as well. Gee, we did see, I think, Phil Auntie there with an absolute ripper of a start there. That's actually held up. I think that might be Moz Mraz. Was a little bit slower than what we'd normally see him come through at the moment there. Oh, it's 3 wide there between Sonny Kenshin there in the middle of him and Brenton Hobson. Oh, there ever so slight tap there
squeeze.
as well. Yeah, just give each other space, lads. That is, I think Nick Wood in behind there as well. So Nick had an absolute run off the line there. Caleb Patterson in the mix there as well. So that
3 wide. Oh, squeeze.
Yeah, you'd have to feel for these guys because there's quite a few cars there with quite a lot to lose there. Jack Boyd does seem to know how to avoid all that confrontation there. Sonny Kenshin.
Sonny's keen to make his way up.
Yeah, that is Phil Auntie that actually has spat in there off the circuit. So thankfully not in the way of the cars in behind. Yeah, we are going to get a VRS replay on that and see what's happened. We do know first lap jitters, cold tyres there. We can did have car 202 in behind, so Lucas Mickelef right next to him there as well. I think Moz Bronze was next to him. So
Moz hit the curb. Moz was lifted off the curb.
Yeah, we did see, kind of even made the comment a little bit earlier before that Moz does hit those curbs super, super hard there, making it up with the suspension, but it's actually almost saved Moz, if anything. He's kind of actually bounced him back onto the circuit there, but Phil Auntie, as we just saw, might even have to catch a replay of that. Brody Cook coming onto that start finish straight, all 4 tyres off. So many cars there. It's almost, would have to say, somewhere around 20, half the field at least.
Yeah, probably
into the pits now, Marty Turner.
75% of the field.
Yeah, we are going to catch this Brody Cook replay there. So he had a huge tank slapper coming onto the straight. there as well. I think he had one of the Simworx cars in behind. Yeah, you can see.
Yep.
Oh, big tank stop from both of them as well.
That's Liam Caprice, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Liam there as well. So definitely going with the never lift. You see a lot of these guys hit the grass here in the MX-5s and absolutely keep the boot in. We are going to cut back to live pictures here at the moment. Yeah, so Daryl Carpenter there.
Todd.
Both himself and Todd George, though, a healthy 2.5 seconds at the moment to Mikulev and Brenton Bull.
The field's finally starting to settle down a little bit after the first couple of hectic... Oh, there's another one onto the grass. That's a really difficult complex to get through, especially if you're trying to find some time.
Yeah, it's watching the V8 supercars come on this circuit here. It's such a balance of the throttle as they come around, because you've got like these really blowing corners there. I suppose with the MX-5s being a little 1.6 car, they can kind of hold it, except for maybe that first lap there, but can kind of hold it almost flat out.
Yes.
For a lot
So
of the corners here.
The first section of that sort of S chicane is flat out, and as you get to the second part, it's hard onto the brakes, and that's what catches people out, because you're tempted to not brake as early sometimes, and then that just throws you straight out into the grass. They still have a point of no return, the little Mazda, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just seeing that is Brenton Hobson there. Hubbo put in the yards there as well. He's trying to catch on the back of these two cars in front there, Dale Carpenter and Jack Boyd. So just see there, if Mosmorow starts putting on that pressure, it is going to slow him up.
Has Jack pitted this race as well? Do we know? Okay, so Jack and Dale are both pitted, so...
Yeah, so we have seen Marty Turner is the leader of our hitters there, but whether or not that's going to play into his hands come the strategy there. So we have seen Jack Boyd in 12th position, so he's pitted twice now, so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore at the moment. I'm just trying to read. No Kyle. It is cool, the little messages that we see on some of the MX-5's cars. Beautiful on-board shot though. I kind of see just how much of the undulation. Oh, big understeer moment there.
As I said at the start, this is where you really just need to get the little Mazda to flow. The hard braking just slows you down so much. Once you've got momentum and you can get the car to flow through these corners, it really is quite an exciting lap to do. Oh. Too much grass doesn't help though.
Yeah, so that we are on board here at the moment with Glenn Boyd looking at Ray Oliver. The Boyd family always put in a good showing there, so Glenn Boyd, another one of our cars there, has pitted twice, so pretty much flag to the end there. Also just see one of the downshift cars outbrake themselves a little bit. One thing to note though, talking about downshift, we are actually missing Tane Venables here at the moment.
Yeah, so Tane's actually decided to leave the series, so yeah, he won't be back, unfortunately. He made the decision to move on, so yeah, he's that was his choice, and it's unfortunate because he was doing really well. But as I said, we don't hold anybody to ransom, and if drivers choose to move on, then that's their choice. But yeah, as I said, it was unfortunate because Tane is very quick. He's a good little racer, but sometimes drivers don't necessarily agree with the rules. But that's what we have rules for. So yeah, it's and it's the same as real life. People make decisions and choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just in the news as well, I think we've had Brindley Eastwood has had a bunch of issues there, technical problems there. So is back into the server at the moment, so probably will not be finishing this race. We'll hopefully see him be able to come into the next race. He did have a, Brinley spectating. Sorry, Brinley was
He,
in
wa-
the A
he's one.
class.
He's one of the Carbon boys. I was about to say. I have no doubt that he's looking for some tips. So
Yeah.
he snuck into the server to watch Todd and Lucas and Brenton just to try and get some tips for next week, which is good to see. Obviously, there's some pretty keen AM drivers that want to move forward. Yeah, they'll do whatever it takes to get the inside info.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing quite a few quick drivers. There was Marty Turner that is still maintaining that gap though to Jack Boyd. So didn't think that Jack Boyd was going to try and reel that train in behind at the moment, but you can see just how big that gap is there at the moment, around 5 seconds or so. So Marty's only lost maybe a couple of tenths to the train in behind, but if he can stick it out on his own here, it's not a real massive draft track. Obviously here with Barber Motorsports Park, so he should be in pretty safe here at the moment. You actually see a Jack Boyd under a lot of pressure at the moment. Does have Brenton Hobson and Brenton Bull, so it is actually proving to be quite difficult for them to try and sort themselves out here. You can see Lee Harrison's in the mix as well, as well as Aaron Oliver. So they're all here in this big pack.
Lee would be looking for a really good result tonight. It's his last race, unfortunately, for about 3 months.
I know. We're probing him on air about his trip for the F1. So that's so exciting for him.
Yes, yeah. He when he first messaged me and asked me what he should do, I sort of responded with, "You can't be serious."
Yeah.
There's really only one thing you can do.
Yeah, mine was more that 3 months in Florida would be such a stretch. I've done almost 1 month completely in Florida, and that was, it's hard. It's in particular too with the exchange rate as well, and it's such a big place, and but I'm sure he'll have an absolute blast, and it'll be quite rewarding once that race is done and dusted.
This is Ashley Norman trying to make his way back up through the field after his unfortunate coming together in race 1.
And nice little overtake there. By these two in behind, so good split through all here. We have actually, just looking on that timing board as well, so Sonny Canchin a little bit further down. So he's actually been separated from that group that he was with before. So actually just need to update my timing screen at the moment, but
24th spot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite a long line there. You can see their teammate as well, Wayne Losh, in that mix there as well. So
I'm not sure Sonny appreciates our track selection some weeks. I usually get a message saying I've never even been there.
Yeah, well, and
bit of contact.
You're exactly right there. Like you are keeping people on your toes there with that track selection, and kind of even had that discussion with Lee a little bit earlier. Like you have that classic combination of MX5 and Okayama, which is like, it almost comes around every 3 weeks in the official series. So people have had so much practice around it, but when you throw like a curveball in the mix, like here we are at Barber Motorsports, so it can kind of keep everyone on their toes and keep everyone guessing. It's not, and then it kind of lends itself to, it's not just the same people that kind of have a combination like the back of their hand. We are going to cut to a VRS replay of this. Big slide. Oh, so majestic there, seeing these MX5s. There we go.
It's almost like MotoGP, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, definitely wouldn't want to put a Or maybe on the AstroTurf, we do see the MotoGP guys hammer it through the AstroTurf there, but all been pretty lucky though so far.
They have.
No one looping it on the grass. A little bit different to Okayama. I've seen quite a few cars spin it.
It shows a different level in car control, again, which is why we have the two splits. But some of these boys are incredible to watch with their car control. I certainly couldn't put it out on the grass that many times and keep it straight. So hats off to the driving for some of these boys. But I think they all seem to be loving this track. So I have a feeling that it may become a regular feature for the pro boys moving forward. I think it's one of those tracks that we've sort of hesitated on, but looking at the racing tonight, it's definitely one that we'll be back to for sure.
Yeah, well, not that I'm guessing. I know that the track selection would have to be all selected in advance. We might have to do Long Beach as a bit of a tip of the hat to Lee over in.
And I'm sure, Nick, that you'd love to do race control for that night.
Yeah. I would almost see the MX-5s doing a street circuit would kind of almost bring us back to like the production cars at the Gold Coast Indy.
Yes.
And the production cars at the Adelaide. Using the support category, and you're exactly right. It is so much carnage, but
so much fun at the same time.
Yeah. Wouldn't it look amazing? It would make the broadcast would just be spending the whole time, I think, laughing, laughing and crying maybe.
I have got an ace up my sleeve that we may be doing something a little bit different next week for the pro boys at Road Atlanta. I'm working on something. I haven't spoken to the broadcast boys yet, so I probably need to do that before. But stay tuned. It could be something fairly exciting next week.
Well, if you ask on air, then they'll have to say yes, no matter what. So.
Not that I like creating extra work for them, but
yeah.
But I'm sure the drivers would love it. So perhaps I'll just give them Fonte's details if he says no.
Yeah.
He can have 30 angry pro drivers.
I think we actually are coming over. So we have seen a penalty handed to Nick Wood. Lucas Miklev on the radio as well, so potentially maybe another penalty coming around though, but are showing Marty Turner around that fifth place. I think he's actually leading complete there. He's going to come over that line. First up here, we are seeing Jack Boyd there with Brenton Hobson in behind, so my screen's all over the shop here at the moment. But
so Liam obviously chose not to pit this race, and looks like he'll take the victory, which is the first one for Liam. So good to see a different driver again. Oh, I shouldn't speak too soon, should I? Don't want to put the curse on him.
Yeah, so Simon Joel Smith, Kyle Ridley there. So
that's a good comeback for Simon Joel Smith. With the troubles he had in race one, he's done really well to get that back up to second for this race.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can just see
Liam's excited.
Yeah, great work there by get that Simworx car on there. I think that might be one of their first wins as well.
Yes,
for that team. So great showing there. We did see just how strong they were in that endurance. So obviously having a bit of bad luck, unfortunately, there. We do see Jack Boyd though hitting out Brenton Hobson. So possibly a all too familiar sight there. Jack Boyd just being so strong there.
Interesting. Marty Turner's done 2 pit stops as well, so it's going to make it an interesting third race between those 3 boys.
Yeah, absolutely. So She was just saying from that shot there, cars all over the circuit there at the moment, so we are going to see a few more of our last finishes come in. We are going to pull up our standings. Did see Lincoln Police come in the line, Simon Joel Smith there, Kyle Ridley. So our 3 cars not pitting there, Marty Turner, Jack Boyd, Brenton Hobson, Todd George, Lee Harrison, Dale Carpenter, Adam Mosmoroz there in 10th position.
Followed by Aaron Oliver, Brody Cook, Caleb Patterson, Glenn Boyd, Owen Coleman, Ray Oliver, Damien Seeger, Brenton Bull, Wayne Losh, Tom Huggan.
Steve McMahon, Nick Wood there in 22nd, did receive a penalty on that last lap. Ashley Norman, Phil Orty there, a little bit further down, Cameron Edwards, Sonny Canshin, so might have to have a little bit of look later on what had happened there. Lucas Mikulev in 27th position. Yeah, we are going to cut to a quick ad break here with the Simworx Roadster Rumble, brought to you by KP Tech, Automotive Towing, Aussie Carts, Palmer's Rinaldi, Phoenix Smokers, Race Labs, Motorsport Haulers, True Clean Auto Detailing, and of course our title sponsor there, Simworx, brought to you by SimSpeed.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no, that's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Are you new to sim racing, or maybe a veteran struggling to reach the next level? Have you ever wondered how the aliens reach impressive lap times that seem impossible to achieve? If so, you're not alone. Most drivers reach a certain level and get stuck. But getting faster on track is easier than you think. VRS coaches are some of the best sim racers in the world and offer one-on-one driver skills training at affordable rates to help new drivers learn the basics and help experienced drivers break through to the next level. Are you ready to get faster and get off the iRacing roller coaster? If so, VRS one-on-one personal training is for you. If you've invested in your equipment, it might be time to invest in yourself. Just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a 30, 60 or 90-minute session with one of our world-class coaches, and you'll learn exactly what to do for faster lap times and more podiums. Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Fowler, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.
We are back here for our round 5 here at Barber Motorsports Park. for our Pro and Pro cars here with the Simworx Roadster Rumble, brought to you by Simworx. We have had our first 2 races here. They're usually in pretty fast in, pretty fast out though. So we've seen our 3 cars to watch there. Jack Boyd, Lee Harrison there, Brenton Hobson. So those 3 have both done their pits there as well. And they're all sitting around that top 10 position there at the moment. So we're going to be expecting to see them all shuffle their way up through the order here. So that is our warm-up done. We're going to have about a minute or so while everyone grids up, but we will see our 3 cars there that chose not to pit in race 2 there. Liam Caplice, Simon Joel Smith and Kyle Ridley there are going to be our 3 top positions there. We are actually going to go through the field while we can there. Todd George, Lee Harrison, Dale Carpenter, Moz Moroz, Aaron Oliver and Brody Cook. Caleb Patterson, Glenn Boyd, Owen Coleman, Ray Oliver, Damien Seagar, Brenton Bull and Wayne Losh. Tom Huggins, Steve McMahon, Nick Wood, Ashley Norman, Phil Orty, Cameron Edwards, Sonny Kench and Lucas Mikulev there. So both Sonny and Lucas there very well down the order. We did see... did not catch on the live feed though what had happened to Sonny Kench though, but he's having another fair amount of bad luck here tonight here, Greg.
Yes, it's surprising. As I said, Sonny, there's a few tracks that Sonny hasn't spent a lot of time on, and obviously this is one of them. So I'm looking for a big improvement in race 3, especially from Sonny. I don't think he'll stay at the back for too long. He'll try and make his way forward as quickly as possible, but in this field, which is obviously very quick tonight, it's going to be a difficult thing. And we've got a car round already.
Yeah, that is Caleb Patterson there. So he's looped it once already there. We're just having a good look there at Brent Hobson there. He's in behind Jack Boyd. So these 2 would have to say are contenders there for podium position, if not the win here tonight. So you see Lee Harrison a little bit further back there. He's got one of the carbon cars in between, so he'll be wanting to get around there. I think that is Todd George just up the road. I'm not too certain on what Todd George's pit strategy is. I'm sure he's probably 2 pit stops in the first 2 races, so it should be the run to the flag for Todd George as well.
I think Lee will be keen to get as far up the field as he can tonight, obviously being his last race for a while. So I would suggest that Lee won't be hanging around if he gets the opportunity to move. And as we can see,
yeah. That is really unfortunate there for Lee.
Well.
He's actually tagged both of them there. So
yeah,
bit of the old commentator's curse there. We are going to cut to a VRS replay, but Lee really wanted to try and snag a win there right at the end there, but yeah, looked like he did cause that. So anyways, you'll probably never say anyone's deserving there, but he might have copped what he what he dished out in that particular occasion. So his pit strategy is all done there, so he's going to be just driving back on the circuit. It would be like the flag for him there. Brenton Hobson though all over the back there. We did see Todd George was actually separating these 2 before, but just see how fast these 2 are there as well. So I think that is Moz Moroz in between those 2 in the downshift car.
That's Simon, I believe. He's moved out. Yeah, he's moved out of the way, I think. There's some battles that you can fight and others that you're better off just moving aside and trying to jump on the back and stay as far up as you can. Sonny's making his way through. I think his teammate will probably step aside.
Yeah, we do see there Wayne Losh and Nick Wood just up the road from him as well there. I think that is Tom Hagen as well. So Tom, we haven't seen too much of here tonight. He's just been chipping away at it in the background.
Yeah, Tom's actually leading our Pro-Am class, so he's doing a good job week in, week out of just collecting enough points to keep himself up the front, which is really all you have to do in the Pro-Ams. There's there's no point in fighting against the pros.
Yeah,
If you've got your own championship.
Looking, that was some shots there of Steve McMahon doing pretty well there as well. He's another Pro-Am car there, currently in 17th position. So just getting a handle on everything there. We just saw Aaron Oliver. So Aaron, we have not seen too much of here tonight. He's definitely in the right place, so at the right time. So he's on track for potentially a 3rd position as well. So he hasn't been in too much of the carnage. He's just tried to lurk in the shadows, which is exactly what you want to do here in this sprint race format.
So Sonny's worked his way up to 12th from 24th on the grid. So as predicted, I think Sonny's got a little bit of the red mist. He wouldn't be happy finishing so far back in race 2. So obviously got a few things to prove in this race, and we'll probably see Sonny at his best, going close to setting some really fast lap times. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't set the fastest lap for the night, trying to get back a few positions that he's lost.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see as well, like the whole field are really only separated our last lap, really only about half a second splitting that entire field there for that last lap. So it just shows how tight it really is around here. We're just catching up with one of the chicken up cars there, car number 3 of Ashley Norman. So Ashley having a pretty hard night there, starting a little bit further back, has been involved in some of the carnage at the moment. So he's sitting in around 14th position, which is not too bad, all things considering.
Yeah, Brendan Cook has made his way up to Brody Cook, has made his way up through the field, just gone about his business quietly. It's good to see.
Yeah, so we're expecting, I think we're only going to see maybe about 7 or 8 cars here choose to go in the pits. So we're going to see the majority of the field, about 20 cars will be staying out there for the most part, all the way down to about Caleb Patterson. So we'll see a little bit more of a traditional sprint race this one, everyone out on circuit all together. Great work there by Nick Wood. Yeah, Nick doing it pretty tough there, up 13 positions, currently into 9th here at the moment. So
Actually getting a bit of air over the curbs through the complex there. That's a little bit too much curb. That actually slows you down.
yeah, we've seen just how aggressive, maybe in particular some of the touring cars as well, that when they really try and crank it there over the curbs, and you can risk damaging the car underneath. Thankfully MX-5s are a little bit more forgiving around the back part of the circuit. So all in all, around about the halfway point there. So we do have around 6 laps to go, so just under the halfway mark.
Ashley's widened the track even more again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming through the last turn.
Usually we see, not to put the curse on ourselves, but we've seen in some of the sprint rounds, usually the pro class comes a little bit unstuck there in the second half of the final race. I think everyone's trying to, as we do see 3 wide there at the moment. Brenton Bull, Damien Seeger, Nick Wood there, hanging all the way around the outside though. Great work though. Super deep under brakes, gone all the way around the outside.
Well done to Brenton Bull there for being able to pull that up. I thought there may have been contact, but did a great job of pulling that up.
So these two up ahead, still side by side. I think there's about 4 or 5 corners at least there. A little bit of a bang for good measure though.
The gloves are off this time.
Yeah, so I think that is Tom Huggan and Damien Seeger. I think those two. Nick Wood in the mix as well. So, Nick Wood so wide there. He was well and truly off the circuit. He was on the actual other asphalt part though. It's just getting more and more heated between these two. Seen another car go completely off the circuit. They're all 3 wide though. So
that's Tom Huggan And Wayne Losh. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, a bit unfortunate for Wayne Losh. He's almost the
Is the
innocent
unfortunate
bystander
victim
in
in
that. Yeah,
that one, I think. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Tom's tried to move back down across the track, but 2 cars underneath it was never going to be enough room, unfortunately.
yeah. So potentially Nick Wood, though, in the big winner and all that, he was very shallow down the inside and thankfully wasn't too caught up into that. So he's all over the back there at Damon Seeger at the moment. It has kind of thinned him out a little bit. It's actually helped Sonny Canchin, though. That's actually pushed him all the way up into 8th place now. So
Yeah, I noticed Sonny had sort of made good progress and then started to drop back. I wonder if he's got some equipment issues tonight or just finding the slowdowns on the track, which is another way of costing you a great amount of time.
absolutely. See, though, about half a second back from Nick Wood at the moment, so not really close enough to make a pass, though, but definitely in a good mix, though. But you'd have to say just not with the pace there at the moment. These 3 cars, though, separated by only about a 10th when it comes to that last lap, so all 3 of them there about a 140, which is actually losing ground there. Aaron Oliver, Brody Cook, Owen Coleman, all the way up to Jack Boyd, all around that, and Brenton Hobson. So all the cars in front are around that 137 mark. So the top 5 are about 3 seconds a lap faster than Damien Seeger onwards.
Battling that these 3 cars are driving to their mirrors rather than driving ahead. You can see now Sonny's caught up, Nick's caught up. It's going to be interesting for the next lap or so. Damien's taking the. Oh no, that's too defensive, Damien. You can't. You won't make up ground out there.
Just saw Caleb Patterson off track as well. Ray Oliver taking a penalty as well. So we're actually seeing on and off screen here at the moment, though. Oh, that's a big crossing behind. It's actually Ashley Norman lurking in the background as well, so actually making up a little bit of time. But these 3 are absolutely slowing each other up here at the moment with their battling. It's only going to make their life harder with this group in behind. So
You did say, Nick, that the second half of the last race, the gloves come off. There is no team orders. It's every man for himself.
yeah, definitely, especially out on circuit at the moment, though. Ashley Norman pushing really hard up 14 positions, wanting to make a bit of a lasting impact here at Barber Motorsports Park. Oh, gee, that cut the corner super hard there. I'm very surprised that wasn't a slowdown.
The rest of the pack, of course, as you said, Nick, the slower lap times have meant that even more cars are now starting to jump on the back. So this is going to be a real battle to the end. I think it's allowed other cars to sort of join the train now, and I would expect that pretty soon there'll be some moves being thrown. It's 1 eye in front and 2 eyes behind at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So was having a little bit of a look on our timing screen at the moment. Jack Boyd and Brenton Hobson still very close together. Aaron Oliver there has just dropped a little bit further back. They are close together. They're side by side. You can't get much more close together than that. Brenton Hobson actually taking the lead of the race here. So it is great. It is, when we do have this kind of flag-to-flag situation in race 3, it really does lend us to some pretty impressive racing there. Aaron Oliver there surely can capitalise on these 2 fighting up the road ahead.
He'll be throwing everything that he's got, trying to make up the ground. And if Brenton and Jack continue to battle, then, as you said, Aaron will be in there looking to take advantage. We just saw Brenton then run wide through that complex again. So that's given Jack the run up the inside, but Brenton's not going to give it up for the last turn, as you would expect.
Well, surely Brenton Hobson there would want to make a bit of a mark there on Jack Boyd. Gee, if these 2 come across the line side by side on the final lap,
amazing watching these guys race. They give each other space, but they don't seem to slow down even when they're off the racing line. It's incredible.
And I do like that these two driving side by side would be like way faster than me just driving on here on the circuit normally on my own.
It's incredible to watch guys throwing down these lap times. As I said, racing lines don't seem to matter to some of these boys, but Aaron now is right on the back of them, so it's going to make it a three-way tussle to the flag.
Yeah, Aaron Oliver definitely won, trying to hopefully notch up his first win here. But this is going to be as good a chance as any here at the moment with these two fighting up ahead there. Brenton Hobson, though, with the upper hand. We have seen Jack Boyd, though, has generally been the stronger in this field, though, at the moment. So great to see Brenton Hobson definitely handing it to Jack Boyd there. Might be with his track selection too, that Jack not as familiar as what we normally see him at the moment. They're great defense so by Hobson. Aaron Oliver there, just out of reach out of these two. He's about half a second back there at the moment. He really needs to keep that gap nice and close. Just through the news as well there, Cameron Edwards receiving a penalty, so did see him there before with some rear contact with Sonny Cantion. That is the white flag, though, is going to come all the way to the line for these three. Brody Cook on Coleman there in 4th and 5th in behind them.
Wonder if Aaron has been saving himself for the last lap for one last dive at the guys in front of it. If they continue to battle, it'll certainly give Aaron a chance to get back up onto the back of them, but unfortunately when you're too wide, it's very difficult to get past.
Surely someone will want to take a chink out of the Jack Boyd armour. He's had almost a flawless couple of rounds here, so he really wants to.
Very late on. Oh, that's a slowdown. I think that may actually be a slowdown. Yep. That may have just opened the door for Brenton.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like he's backing off too much. Maybe he might be rolling off the throttle there. Aaron Oliver all the way in behind him as well. So yeah, you're exactly right. If Jack starts to serve a slowdown, he's going to almost... Oh, a big bump there in between. Sorry, off Damien Seeger having a massive accident. We will have to cut back to a replay of that. Sorry there, Fonty. We might just want to catch these cars as they
there's
come
the
through the final corners there.
Jack's got his slowdown. Yeah, you can't...
Yeah, Brady Cook's going to have that momentum coming through there.
So Aaron holds on for second.
Yeah, excellent effort there by Aaron Oliver. Jack Boyd definitely such a force to be reckoned with, so to be able to just edge him out there, he'll be absolutely chuffed with that.
Unfortunate for Jack, but you can't take that much out of that corner and not get a slowdown, and I'm talking from first-hand experience, so... as soon as I saw the line that Jack took, I knew that was going to be unfortunately, it was going to be a slowdown.
Yeah, congratulations there. As big slides all over the circuit there for Brody Cook. Getting that 4th position on Coleman there in 5th. So, stellar run there. We might, if we do get the chance there, catch Damien Seeger down that back straight there in that Palmer's car. Kind of work out exactly what had happened there. Did have a contact, I think, with Sonny Cantion there. He sounds pretty upset there over the race radio. We'll have a quick look at that and then go to our standings here for tonight. Oh, yeah, that's it there. So, it does look like... ever so slightly crossed up there. I'm sure Damien maybe not understanding what had happened to the left-hand side of him there, so...
I think,
Yeah, it was a bit of an accident. Surely the wrong place at the wrong time between those two.
So Damien's run wide here off the track and then tried to bring it back on, obviously. And that's going to be an interesting one for the stewards. And obviously it will be post-race. And Damien is one of our stewards, so I think I might be busy Thursday night and give that one a miss.
Yeah, absolutely. We might cut to our standings as well. Very hard one to call, though. I guess, yeah, you are right, though. He kind of goes wide, kind of almost gone for that same spot, maybe not knowing. Well, they would have known each other was there. I think Sonny might have thought he was a bit wider than what he was, but surely.
Yes,
So,
that's going to be a tough call. I think I'll leave that to the rest of the stewards to call that one.
yeah. But anyways, in some unfortunate news for Damien Seeger, though, but surely Brenton Hobson finally getting the
Yes.
upper hand on Jack Boyd. He has beaten him before, mind you, but this season Jack has just been on such a force with how the setup is. So Brenton Hobson there for synergy, Aaron Oliver there, Aaron Oliver also getting another podium. Surely Aaron Oliver is only a few races away from a win this time as well. So Jack Boyd, Brody Cook on common, great work there in 4th and 5th position there. Nick Wood, excellent job in 6th. Sonny Canshin there with that incident we just saw. Potentially would be a post race. We'll have to let the stewards decide on that one there. Ashley Norman for Chicken Up Racing. Steve McMahon and Cameron Edwards running out of the top 10.
In 11th, Damien Seeger, so he still got home in 11th. Caleb Patterson in 12th. Marty Turner home in 13th. Simon Smith, Phil Orty, Glenn Boyd, Kyle Ridley, Dale Carpenter, Todd George, and Lucas Micallef home in 20th.
Ray Oliver there coming back after, I think, a penalty a little bit earlier on there. Brenton Bull, Lee Harrison having that big accident is what we saw start of the race. He'll be a bit disappointed with that. Tom Huggin there. Mosmeroz, Lee Caplice, and Wayne Losh there, all finishing laps down. So that rounds out our 27 Pro and Pro classes there. So any final words here, Greg, for our Simworx Roadster Rumble round 5?
Just that I was super impressed with the racing tonight at Barber. It's definitely one of those tracks that, as I said, we've sort of overlooked in the past, but I can guarantee we will definitely be back at some stage. That's probably some of the best racing we've seen. I think the guys in both the Pro and Pro-Am classes tonight put up a fantastic effort. There's always going to be incidents to look at, but overall, I think the racing tonight was probably the best that I've seen so far this season. So hats off to the boys. As I said, it's a track that is not normally on our calendar. So a lot of guys have turned up tonight without a whole lot of practice, and they've done a fantastic job. And also a bit of a shout out to the 2 Chicken Up boys for coming out tonight and supporting us once more. They did a fantastic job in the racing and got some good results as well. So well done to the Chicken Up boys and to everybody tonight. As I said, I thought the racing was probably the best I've seen this season. So I'm excited to see what Road Atlanta is going to throw up next week.
Absolutely. Well, great work, and thank you to both yourself and Lee jumping on the mic. For this week here. This has been another round here of the Simworx Roadster Rumble, so brought to you by our title sponsors, Simworx, KP Tech, Automotive Towing, Aussie Carts Air, Palmer's, Rinaldi, Phoenix Smokers, Race Labs, Motorsport Hauler, True Clean Auto Detailing. So that rounds us out. I'm going to throw you in the deep end, Greg, and ask you where we will be next week.
So next week we're at Road Atlanta for the pros and the pro-ams.
Yeah.
And for the AMs, I really have no idea.
It'll be a mystery to everyone, including yourself. But it will be a combination round as well.
So there is potential for it to be something completely different.
This is what you were talking about before.
And a very exciting concept that I've actually been working on for some time, but I do need to speak to Fonty and see if it's something that we can do. But if we can, then I can guarantee that it will be something that the viewers really don't want to miss, because it will just add another layer of excitement to what has already been a really good night of racing. So stay tuned. If we can get this one over the line next week,
you have to run this
promises.
past me as well. You're making me very nervous on what you're proposing there, but we will definitely see you next week as well. So congratulations on on a pretty smooth night there. We saw some absolutely excellent racing, and this has been the Simworx Roadster Rumble.
Thanks, guys.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?